Well, the big political parties that fill up stadiums aren't the only ones contesting Wednesday's poll. A record 48 political parties are in the running, all of them determined to claim your vote. Well, tonight we speak to some of them. Good evening to all of you, and thanks very much for joining us. I'm going to start with you, Strike Thokoana, who the president of Azapo. You regard yourselves as a socialist party, but of course, as everyone knows, you've had mixed misfortunes over the past few years. You lost the one seat you had in Parliament in the last election. How do you rate your chances, and what did you do differently this time around?
We call it resilience, and it is something that has to be done. Because remember, when we entered the arena of struggle back then, there were no votes. And today we are called upon to contest, and of course we want to contest. Fortunately, this time around, we're able to start timelessly. But we're also favored by the way the ruling government is doing things. That when people became despondent and people became fed up with what was happening, they would then have remembered what Azapo has been saying to them over the years. We brought in the issue of land. We brought in what Steve Biko gave to the people, his life, but also the ideology of black consciousness. We brought in the issue of the young people being able to be given Wi-Fi for free or made it available.
You don't think those issues have all been taken up by parties like the EFF?
Well, if they do the right thing, it's fine, but they have not taken up the issues that we have raised. For instance, we talk about the repossession and redistribution of the land. They talk about expropriation without compensation. We have got no quarrel with that. But repossession and redistribution is our theme, not only now, but from time back then. But we also find good reception from the public. When you go to them, they're not hostile to the organization. They like our policies, and they feel we are saying the right things to them. There will be challenges of whether you can do it or not. But it has been smooth sailing in a number of areas. And when you go to people and talk to them, they say you are welcome. And I think that is going to work in our favor. The last one is the issue of crime. Everybody says there's corruption, there's crime, and nothing is being done. As Azapo, they don't have to go to jail. We must also go and impound all the things, the riches that they have in their possession as a result of criminality and corruption, and not 2 years to come, now, while Judge Zondo is still busy. Thank you.
Wayne Thring, your party has been at it since 1994. You've had your own fair share of ups and downs. You went up, but only to slide in the last election. What have you done differently this time around?
Vuyo, the ACDP is one of the few political parties that has been active in government since 1994. The ACDP, what makes us unique, being able to weather the political storms, is that we have a very strong base of supporters that have remained loyal to the ACDP from 1994 to date. That has
Where do you draw them from? Is it just from the churches?
It's a wide spectrum, and I think people have this mistaken impression that the ACDP support comes only from the church. We have Muslims that support us, we have Hindus that support us, we have Jews that support us, we have people from all different race groups, and this is what I think makes the ACDP unique, and what separates the ACDP from so many different political parties, is that the ACDP is not personality based. We have a very strong core of leadership that has been charting the course for the party from 1994, 1993 to date. So we are not personality based. The ACDP is found in all 9 provinces. We have strong structures in all 9 provinces. And in the leadership capacity that I serve in, I've had the privilege to travel from the Western Cape to the Northern Cape to Mpumalanga to Northwest to Gauteng and into KZN and many other provinces. And in all of those provinces, we are finding that the support for the ACDP is growing. In fact, the current surveys have indicated that the ACDP is now sitting probably in the top four to five of the political parties within the country. An indication that we've turned the corner and that the ACDP's message to the church, which is from which we draw our large constituency base, and we have to acknowledge that, and we are certainly thankful for that as well. But the message of the ACDP is resonating now not only with the church, but it is also resonating with a multiplicity, plurality of members within South Africa. In the taxis, people are talking about the ACDP. Within the airports, people are talking about the ACDP. In the churches, I was in the church this morning, 3,000 to 4,000 members in the church. They are talking about the ACDP. Stadiums are being filled. Our manifesto launch, 8 to 10,000 members, ACDP. So currently, the stadiums are being filled with members of and supporters of the African Christian Democratic Party.
I'm going to ask you to hold your thoughts right there, and I'm going to go to Durban now. Nana Ngobese, this is the second time you are contesting an election. No luck the last time. What have you done this time around to give you the confidence you have that you are going to make it?
Vuyo, thank you for having me. What is important at this stage is that we have had enough time for us to get our message across because we were just starting in 2009, and I think the issue of women leadership on its own was not a common theme. It was not something that was talked about. But then over the past 10 years, it's something that has slowly seeped in, and I think people started realizing that it is a possibility. Now, what has happened is that we got enough time to prepare for us to touch on in all our areas the structures of women that were beginning to think that there is something that women can do on their own. And I'm glad that it's not just Women Forward. There are other parties that are beginning to talk about women leadership, saying that women are better leaders, women can make a difference on the ground. And we're actually working from the premise that if we work from the ground up, we're going to be able to unravel more leaders at ground level so that the accountability that we need for our progress, in the country is actually ground-based. It's not at the top levels. It's where it matters, where people are poorest, where people need services. Now, when we actually have women leaders right there, accountability is going to be stronger, is going to be more rooted where people actually live. And that is the promise of Women Forward.
But what are the core principles driving you? But what are the key issues that you've been fighting this election on?
The main one is to make sure that we are as inclusive as possible, meaning that we talk to communities to organize themselves better. Let me just give you an example. The issue of the grant has been talked about. And at Women Forward, we are saying that we don't have issues with the grant, but we know that nobody will ever come out of poverty with a grant alone. Therefore, then, we are saying to women, organize yourselves better. Make sure that you take some of the programs to yourselves. Organize yourselves better, because women are good at doing some of the projects on their own. When you work with the government projects, just like we used to do extended public works, do more of those projects so that you supplement your grant. Make sure that as you work as collectives, as women, it makes it easy for you to see one another as support systems. And it has actually happened. Now, what is important is that women are beginning to understand what we actually mean by doing that, because they did that before apartheid. Now, when the grants came, they seemed to disempower people because people started thinking that they can depend on grants alone. Now, when we actually give them a message that you can continue doing the things that you did even before apartheid time, supplement that with your grant, but make sure that you work as a collective so that you hold even the leaders in your own areas more accountable when you are groups of women than actually not being organized. When you're not organized, you are not able to hold government to account. Therefore, then the message is actually resonating to make sure that we make sure that people in their own areas look after themselves. And that is why then we deal with the issues of the teen pregnancy. We're going to deal with it at community levels. We're going to deal with the issue of the environment at community level. Those things are easier to deal with when women are better organized at community levels.
Okay, we're going to take a quick ad break. Newsnight continues in a moment. Don't go away.